Hello, everyone. This is Gail, aka Sunshine. Today we have Dane Thorp joining us around the campfire, and he's going to share his story about being a cancer survivor slash thriver. So, Dane, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, please start by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, career, family, all that kind of stuff. And then, if you can, include one fun fact.
All right. So I'm from San Diego, California. I grew up out here. I moved to the East Coast for a little bit and realized I don't really like weather. And unfortunately, weather seemingly followed me after I came back, and now we're hot and humid again. Um, I got married in 17 and had two kids now. My first was born on September 9th, 2019. That'll become relevant later. Um, one fun fact about me, let's see. Throughout my 20s and early 30s, before kids, I used to travel up and down Baja and go fishing in like ever towns that no one's ever heard of. And
Oh, awesome.
it's my hobby of choice is going fishing. But now that I have kids, I can't do that anymore to the same degree.
well, well, and yeah, and living where you do, going to Baja is not a
Oh,
huge trek. I mean, it's pretty
45
easy,
minute
but
drive.
man, awesome. So I'm curious how you got connected with Epic Experience.
Uh,
If you can tell us that story.
Absolutely. So I own one zine company, and
That
I
could have
have
been your fun fact, also.
fair. Don't think stretch limo here. Think black cars, blacks, SUVs, things
Okay.
like that. At any rate, so I own one zine company and have a bunch of vehicles, and one of my customers is Lucid Diagnostics. Now I'm friends at this point now with a gentleman named Sean, and he does a lot of organization with them. I believe he's a CEO, COO. Don't hold me to that. And At any rate, so he scheduled me to drive everyone to and from the event they had down in Coronado, and that's South San Diego. At any
Hmm.
rate, one of those people was Denny, and he and I talked about his treatment, then my treatment, and that's how I came to know about
And
Epic
now here you
Adventures.
are.
Yeah,
Awesome. I love it. Well, again, the connection being cancer, right? Lucid
yep,
Diagnostics. You talked to Denny, aka Stretch, about his. So I'd like to hear more about your diagnosis story. When, how you were diagnosed, a little bit about your surgery and treatment, that whole thing.
sure. So I made note of when my daughter was born in September 9th, 2019. December of 2018, I noticed a bump on the top of my lip. And
Mm.
with melanoma, it's typically accompanied with mole discoloration, something that's obvious.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't see anything, and it's kind of funny and sad simultaneously. But I convinced myself that I had a cyst thanks to watching a TV show called Dr. Pimple Popper. And I know. I sat up late one night, couldn't stop watching, and the bump hadn't gone away in 3 weeks. And eventually I went in. Doctor looks at me and
Mm.
says, "You know what? I think you're right. We're going to have head and neck take it out." 3 months later, head and neck looks at it. Head and neck says, we can take this out, but honestly, maxillofacial should do this so that way it's from the inside and we don't leave a scar.
Mm.
So that's doctor number two that's looked at it. 3 months later, head and neck, excuse me, maxillofacial comes in and does biopsy, takes the tissue out, declares it a mucosal cell cluster at the time. That's June 10th of 2019. So 3 months
And
before my daughter was born.
and mucosal cell cluster being cancer or not?
No, not being cancer.
Not.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. That is when your saliva cells clog up in the tissue and they can't excrete saliva into your mouth.
Okay.
And that's what he said at the time. 3 days later, June 13th, he calls me and he says, "Well, congrats, you're like my third diagnosis of mucosal melanoma in 30 years." And
Wow.
it unfortunately it's a very rare
Yeah.
cancer. It's around 1,000 cases a year diagnosed in the United States, and it does
Wow.
not have good prognosis upon diagnosis, let alone if you get to stage 4.
Right.
So that's how I found out. And
Wow.
point of that is that happened 2 months before my daughter was born.
Mm. And you started treatment after she was born? Did you do treatment or did they just take it out? I
So
mean,
Immediately, they did two excisions. The first excision to cut it out was positive margins.
Okay.
And I had a condition called perineural invasion, which means that the tumor had decided it was going to grow along the nerve. In my case, it's the
Oh gosh.
trigeminal nerve that goes all the way through your skull. And well, it goes through your jawbone, excuse me. Eventually, it does go through your skull into your brainstem, which is not a great location.
No, no.
And yeah, that's so two surgeries, positive margins in both. And then I started standard of care where I began doing Keytruda, standard
Hmm.
immunotherapy for melanomas. And immediately after the surgeries, I forgot to add that I did do a form of radiation called brachytherapy, which is a very intense, not enjoyable form of radiation.
Oh gosh. And when did all of that finish in terms of surgeries, treatment, everything?
Everything I just described was from July 25th of 19 until like September 30th, give or take. I'm close.
And in that September period, you have a newborn.
Yes.
And this was your first or second? I'm sorry. Did you?
First. That's
Your
my
first.
first.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's a lot.
my wife was 8 months pregnant when I was diagnosed.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to jump ahead and ask you how did that impact parenting? Your relationship with your wife? I mean, that's huge.
It is. Don't misjudge. My wife is wonderful. I love her very much. Nothing about that has changed. Uh, there were moments in time when we hated each other.
This is marriage, right? You
Yes,
love
yes,
them, but at the
but it's
moment,
I, I, where I'm going to say it's different is it's not because we hated each other. It's
yeah,
because both of us had this incredible anger
yeah,
that we had no direction for. Like,
yeah,
what do you do with that as young
yeah.
parents? And I don't know how to describe it. Like,
No.
it was tough. We had wonderful moments and terrible moments. We didn't go anywhere. Obviously, time wise, it was right in the middle of COVID.
Oh
Uh,
gosh, that's right. I didn't even make that connection. Oh my
so
word.
we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere because I was being treated for a rare cancer. And so they were like, yeah, you can't go anywhere. I could go to the hospital at will. They'd take me there.
Right. But
But that
after
was
that,
it. That was it.
so when was your second child born? Was
After I was cleared of cancer.
after you were cleared after
Yes.
COVID, the worst part
Every
of it?
so
Okay.
the answer to your question is January 23.
Okay.
So after she was after everything.
Okay.
I
Wow.
cleared the cancer at that point entirely.
Okay. So your journey sounds convoluted and lots of steps and lots of uncomfortable procedures and all of the things. It
Yes.
also included multiple treatments and clinical trials. And I'm wondering what it was like navigating
Okay.
that
Uh,
uncertainty, when you're trying to find answers, because you said it was so rare, 1,000 people in the US total, you said
Annually,
a
yeah.
year.
Annually, yeah.
So let me ask that question first. So what was it like navigating that uncertainty given all of that rarity?
I'm going to back it up slightly only to
Sure.
give you a better perspective of what I had to do to get there because it's
Okay.
kind of important to your question. So my initial oncologist, I was with Kaiser at the time. My initial oncologist, very nice guy. Unfortunately, he was getting ready to retire,
Oh,
and yeah. So long story short, he had very big technical issues with using email and contacting me routinely.
gosh.
I know it sounds silly, but it annoyed me enough that I ended up firing him and I
Yeah.
moved on to a new oncologist. And to a point that that was how it got me to a place where I could get treated for the answer to
Okay.
your question. So um, there, it also simultaneously gave me the ability to double dip because they accidentally sent an authorization for two different outside oncologists at the same time. So I, I had nothing to do with that, to be fair. But
Hey.
it gave me two people. It gave me Dr. Omid Hamid at the Angeles Clinic, and it gave me Dr. Daniels at UCSD. and the two of them coordinated together. And
Oh,
I
great.
I asked to go to UCSD because I got sick of driving to LA because it's a two
Yeah.
and a half hour drive. And eventually, Dr. Hamid referenced one trial in particular. Now, I asked to go to UCSD because I found a trial. I forget the website, but it's the government website.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was a trial for tumor infiltrating lymphocytes, TILs in short.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, treatment didn't work. A couple of them didn't work.
Mhm.
But it got me to the person and the people that they found something that did. Uh,
Okay.
I did not find the trial that worked. The Dr. Omid Hamid did.
That's
So,
great. I mean, to have people in your corner searching, not
and
giving up
myself.
and looking, and yourself included. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the physical and emotional impact of that whole period of looking for trials, going through them that don't work, finding one that actually is working, it seems like at this point,
So
or did?
before we get to the one that works, because that was real rapid, and there's some guilt in that. I want to be clear. Um, the ones that didn't work, I'll answer that first, and then we'll get to
Sure.
that one. The first one was TILs. TILs is when they take a portion of the tissue out and they extract the white blood cells and they try to grow it in the lab.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did the surgery, they took the tissue out, but the
Oh,
cells didn't grow in the lab. So
okay.
I was kicked off trial because there's nothing to treat me with. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
The second one was a treatment called interleukin 2. I have to be careful because the number is so close. Interleukin 2 in combination with it was either Pembro or Mevo, I can't remember, but it's an immunotherapy, same thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so that treatment was horrifically awful. It is debilitating. You're in the ICU for a week for treatment. Oh
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
and you go to tolerance. And I learned that the word
Oh
tolerance is something you never, ever, ever want to hear in medicine.
no.
So
Yeah, I can imagine that that's
to-
not. Yeah.
tolerance, in short, tolerance means the next dose kills you.
I was gonna
Uh,
say. Oh
that's in
gosh.
short. So you
Yeah.
go to tolerance. I did that twice.
Oh,
And I literally, like, I remember getting home from that one. Actually, the first time, I don't even remember getting home in 2 days afterward. I ended up back in the ICU at Kaiser in place of that. I don't remember any of that. Have
wow.
very little memory of any of that treatment. I just remember being like absolutely debilitated, exhausted, like cannot move, cannot do
Yeah.
anything, sitting on my couch with my 2.5-year-old at the time running around. And I'm sitting there like, how am I supposed to watch her? And I can't even stand up.
Yeah.
And like that's the kind of stuff that I was fighting with at that point. Then
Oh,
onto the one that did work was
yeah.
IL-12. That's why I have to be careful on the numbers.
Mhm.
So IL-12, it was I'm terrible at describing this because it was a trial and they don't have drug names for a lot of this stuff.
Right.
So the technical name of IL-12 was MEDI 1191 off the top of my head.
Oh my
Don't hold
gosh.
me to that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think I'd remember.
at any rate, so the trial itself was a direct injection into the tumor with treatment, and then 30 minutes later, they gave me an immunotherapy.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of other things that I had to do that I didn't really want to do, but that's part of trials.
Mhm.
But yeah, that day one I got the treatment, and day two I looked in the mirror, and at that point I had a tumor. I had a fistula, which is just a hole on your face, or in my
Right.
case it was my face, just a hole somewhere. I had a
Yeah.
fistula, and the tumor had grown through the fistula. And well, long story short, I looked in the mirror on day two, and the tumor on my chin that was sticking out had literally visibly shrunk by like 10 to 15% overnight. And
Wow.
I wasn't positive of that at that moment in time. Like, did that
Yeah.
happen or not? I really
Right.
wasn't sure. Then a couple of days go by, it continues. I can literally see it shrink. I
That is
call
incredible.
I call my oncologist. I tell him, he's like, well, congratulations. You've earned a one-way ticket into my office every day. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I've got to measure it. And I was like, you're
Oh,
kidding, right? He's like,
oh,
no.
because
So
you're
I had to
you're
go
you're
in
the guinea pig now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I learned what not to tell your doctor. I mean, you should, but
Right. No, I know.
It is
Oh,
immensely inconvenient. Don't tell them that. They can find
definitely.
out on a scan. But they didn't do scans on that treatment until the 6 week
Yeah.
mark. So now, where I said that I had some guilt in this, my cousin, he's a yacht captain, and like he and I are very close. He obviously fishes. We get connected through that.
Yeah.
At that, like a month prior to me starting this trial, he talked to the owner of the yacht that he is on, and he's like, "Can I take my cousin out on his last fishing trip?" And
Ugh,
literally, he had that conversation with this very, very wealthy guy that
right.
is hired him to run his boat. The guy said, "Yeah, just pay for the fuel. That's all you got to do," and which is a lot of money, but either way, not commensurate to what was given. And
Right.
so, my cousin, my dad, myself, my brother, we put everything together. We went out for a couple of days. That trip was scheduled like on 3 days after dose two, and I'm sitting there immensely guilty, like I, I think the treatment's working and I'm not dying.
Working.
It's funny. I can laugh at it now, but I
Right. But at the
genuinely
time, I
had
can
that thought.
imagine. Yeah. I
And
imagine.
obviously, no one would have been upset by it. But
No,
at the time, you don't think about it like that. You'll think about it uh, like they did all this for me, and I'm
for me.
it's nothing's gonna happen. And that was the thought. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's the wrong thought. You don't want to think that. But
Right.
the,
No, it's
the only
understandable.
person the only person that knew was my wife at the time, and she was like, "You don't need to." And I didn't understand. Like I couldn't comprehend
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. That was one of those funny little things.
Wow.
After the second dose of that one, the doses are 3 weeks apart. So at the 6 week mark, so first dose finished, second dose finished, just before the third dose, they did the brain scan, and the brain scan was initially before treatment. The tumor was 1.4 centimeters in my brainstem, in
Oh,
an area called pons, which is
yeah.
where all your important things that you don't think about doing are done, like
Yeah.
heartbeat and breathing,
Oh
little
gosh.
stuff,
Yeah.
uh,
Minor things.
minor things. So that's where the tumor was when at
Wow.
that point. And so initially it was 1.4. After the second dose, before the third dose, it had shrunk from 1.4 to zero point 0.4 centimeters. So
Incredible.
66% reduction in 6 weeks. They made the judgment call that like I can't go 6 weeks between scans. They're going to do it every 3 weeks because it's obviously doing something.
Yeah.
And at the 9 week mark, it went from zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.1. And then at the 12 week mark, it was undetectable in my brainstem on scans. Uh,
That is incredible.
yes. And the next part's the weird part because it's a conversation you do and don't want to have. So I went into a clinic visit with my oncologist, Dr. Daniels at the time, and he looks at me and he says, "Well, congratulations, you're officially outside of the guidelines of both science and medicine. We're guessing from here on out." And I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He's like,
Yeah,
"Well, we,
really.
we have no idea what to do with you because they're like you're in a position that everyone wants to be in, but like very few make it. So it's not something that we think about and not
Wow.
something we encounter very often." Now he didn't say it like that. I'm paraphrasing
No,
him.
I understand. But
Uh,
basically he's saying they don't know what to do for follow-up from
no idea.
here, right?
No
Yeah.
idea. They gave me two choices. They're like, "Well, here are your two choices. You have option A, which is stay on trial. Maybe it works." We had no idea. Now, mind you, I had a big giant tumor in my mouth at this point in time, probably the size of a softball. Like it was very
Oh,
large. Oh yeah, no,
oh,
I
really?
like it took over the entire. What you can't see, like you can see the outside of it. On the inside, it goes all the way to the back.
Wow.
Everything on the inside, the entire mandible, all the teeth, all the gums, all
Was
the
the
bone
tumor,
was tumor.
basically. Wow.
So yeah, this surgery that you see, it literally goes to back here on the
Wow.
inside. It's extensive. It's the entire
Yeah.
interior of my mouth. So at any rate, I can either A, stay on trial, maybe it works, who knows,
Right.
or D, we can cut out the only tumor that we know you got. And I said, "Well, if you were in my shoes, what would you do?"
What would you do? Yeah.
And I made him tell me from a medical perspective of a guy that with you are sitting where I'm sitting, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
If you've got a melanoma that you can cut out a melanoma. That's exactly
Yeah.
what he said to me.
Yeah.
I said, "Surgery it
Let's do
is."
it. Yeah.
Uh, I had some insurance issues at that point in time because now, mind you, he was at UCSD and I was a Kaiser patient, and
Yeah.
so I had to learn how to circumnavigate the insurance denial side of things, and that was interesting. However,
Yeah.
I the only upside to this was is the guy that had to do the injections for the trial. He was a head and neck surgeon, and so I literally went to him and I said, "Hey, can you take my case to tumor board and at UCSD see what they say?" Because Kaiser declined it. They declined to do
Yeah.
surgery, and he said they did, and I said, "Yeah." And that was on a Friday at like 5 p.m. I think I sent in a text. I can't remember how I did it, but that's who I talked to. And by Monday at 6 a.m., he said, "I'm going to have my assistant call you this morning, and you're approved for surgery at UCSD." I sent that off to Kaiser. Kaiser said, "No, no, no, no. We're not going to pay for UCSD. You can do that here." And so my head and neck surgeon at Kaiser called me later that day. He's like, "Yeah, I was on the UCSD call. I knew that they were going to do this. I was helping you get it approved there so we could force
Oh, I
Kaiser
see what
hand."
you're saying.
And
You forced her.
so to be clear, I was very proactive with both sides of this. I
Yeah.
was kind of playing everyone at the same time, and that's what I mean by I had to learn how. Like, I didn't know I needed to do that. Now I do, and
Yeah.
but yeah, it was 30 days later, I did the surgery. The surgery, in short, is called a mandible fibula free flap. To translate that, they took my mandible from there to there,
Yeah.
and they replaced it with the fibula from my right leg, in this case.
Wow.
With that comes a vein and soft tissue, as you can probably see. The vein can't, but the soft tissue can.
Yeah.
They and yeah, 5 days later, the head and neck surgeon, his name's Dr. Mullen, he came in and he handed me the pathology report. And I want to clarify, he was a Padres hat, board shorts, a Hawaiian T-shirt, and flip flops. He did not come from the
California
OR.
guy.
He is. He actually is. He is born and raised here. He's in the military. He's become a friend at this point.
Yeah.
And but born and raised here. But point being was he came out of his way to come give that to me because
Yeah.
it meant a lot to him as well. So some of the battle that you have is who you are working with, and
Yeah.
it's tough, but
Yeah.
not.
And that pathology report said,
Oh, I got clinical negative margins of 1 centimeter or larger in all areas, including nerve, bone, and soft tissue. So it left me with a diagnosis of stage 4 mucosal melanoma with no evidence of disease.
wow. And that was when? When did you
That
actually?
was that date of that would have
Yeah.
been October 4th, 2021.
Wow. So at that point, you have eventually, I mean, this has now been a 2 year, basically,
Yeah,
right? 2 year
18,
process.
18, 20 months, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Um, I'm sure all along the way there were points of uncertainty. It sounds like, I mean, the major surgery and all of that. What kept you going? I mean, what was the thing
Uh,
that kind of kept you going?
it's obvious. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. I was diagnosed right when my daughter was born, and
Yeah.
she's still the highlight of my life, and both of
Yeah.
them are now. But yeah, I every day I made videos trying to tell her about the future and that I'm not there, and try to give her
Oh,
advice. And I hated making those videos. I
yeah. I'm sure.
genuinely hated it. I still haven't deleted them, and I really want to, but I don't. I can't, just because I had
Yeah.
no idea what the future has. But
Yeah.
aside from that, like that, having to do that and the potential of not being there is what set me off. Like I couldn't get up, and I never did.
Yeah.
And it was terrible making those videos.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
not been able to watch a single one since.
That's what so you still have them all,
Oh yeah.
but you haven't watched them. Has your wife
No,
watched them? Nobody's
no,
watched them.
no one's watched
So
them.
they're there, but
Yeah,
wow,
she
that
could
would
she
be
could
very
access them
difficult.
very easily. That would not be hard. She's never asked. I mean, she
Ugh,
watched me naked, majority of them. It's not like
right,
she's not aware.
right.
But yeah, it was
Wow.
yeah.
Well, and your journey didn't even end there, because, as I understand, you experienced an opioid dependency that
I
became
did.
more apparent toward the end. So I'm wondering if you can share what you feel comfortable sharing about that. whole
So
experience.
I'll treat that as, I'll go kind of back to the beginning to skip all the cancer side of it. All the treatments, I had several different things that caused unbelievable amounts of pain. And
Yeah.
something that a head and neck cancer patient oftentimes will have, if they get radiation, they'll get something called mucositis.
Mm.
And mucositis translates to the swelling of the mucosal tissue in your mouth or throat. It can be esophageal, it can be oral, it can be a
Hmm.
couple stops, but it is outrageously painful. And it's
Mm.
widely regarded as like one of the most painful things you can go through. And
Wow.
I ended up doing 3 rounds of radiation. And yeah, I didn't know the timeline of how fast the physical addiction of opiates kicks in, but it's
Mm.
30 days, give or take.
Really?
Yeah, give or take, but it's different for everyone. Everyone's anatomy
Yeah.
slightly differently. But ballparking it, it's 30 days. Now, you might be on a small dose of opiate. That's fine. It's not that hard to get off a small dose.
Hmm.
It's not going to be fun, but it's not that hard. Unfortunately for me, my initial radiation was right at diagnosis after surgery. So I went from surgery to radiation. I
Mm.
never was off of them in that period
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
And as time had gone on, I then when you stop taking them, when you have um, a physical addiction, you have this pseudo pain that kicks in, and you think you're in pain, and you may or may not be. I don't like it's different for everyone. I mean, you got cancer; it's complicated, so you don't know. And I didn't know back then that that pain may not have been nearly as bad as what my body was telling me it was.
Yeah.
So I didn't stop, and that continued for the entire treatment cycle. And simultaneously, palliative care was looking at me as a stage 4 mucosal melanoma patient, which the prognosis is horrific. It's
Right.
under like 3% survival rate.
Wow.
It's really bad. And they weren't concerned about having to get me off because I had virtually no chance of survival. Um,
Wow.
and so they they just gave me whatever I asked for. And was it
Mm.
necessary? Probably to some extent, to the extent that it was given, questionable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a complicated answer, and there is
Yeah.
no right answer to that either.
Yeah.
Fast forward that to the end. I find out that first of all, I was in the hospital for a month after that surgery, so I was
Yeah.
still getting opiates. Uh, Fast forward me getting out of the hospital. I'm at home. It's around um, what's it called, Halloween of 21, and
Mm.
I don't try to get off them right away because I just wanted to be home for a little bit and like recover. So I
Hmm.
stay on them for a little bit. Come about Thanksgiving of that fall, I decide, okay, it's time to start whittling down. I tried to stop taking them immediately. The withdrawals were now. I got to clarify. My dose wasn't a standard dose. My dose was immensely high because I had built up the tolerance over the years,
Yeah.
and the dosage that I was at by the end, I was taking 500 milligrams of Dilaudid a day. Um,
Wow.
it's an incredibly high dose, and but that was over a year and a half to get there. It did not happen
Right.
quickly. Uh, I tried to stop taking that all at once, and that was a mistake.
Cold turkey. You just.
I lasted about maybe 26 hours. The think of the worst flu you could ever have
Oh.
hitting you all at once, and yeah,
Yeah.
literally all that fixed it was a pill, made it all go away, and that's the biggest issue with it is that
Yeah.
you get hit in the face with those withdrawals, and they depending on the person, it can be severe of the dosage, it can be super severe like it was for me, uh, or it can be mild, and
Hmm.
yeah, you get punched in the face with it, and until it makes it go away, and it sucks. It really does because you have to overcome the mentality of like I can just go take something and make it go away. Now,
Right.
to be clear, I had to at that point. I didn't know what I was going into. I
Right.
contacted palliative care, told them what was going on, and they said, "Okay, you've got withdrawals." I didn't even know that it was withdrawals at that point in
Oh,
time.
interesting.
It hadn't dawned on me that that was what
Yeah.
I was going through, and they they said, okay, we're going to taper you down slowly. Okay, fine. What does that mean? And they're like, well, we're going to try doing like, so a dilaudid pill is 8 milligrams on the highest dose that they can give you at home. And so we were like, let's just taper you down 8 milligrams every 3 weeks. Okay, fine.
Hmm.
I tried that. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't have nearly as severe of withdrawals. I had withdrawals the entire way through. So every
Wow.
3 weeks, I was dropping down between 4 and 8 milligrams. It was a ballpark number. Eventually, I got to the point, I want to say it was around May or June of 22. I got to the point where I was, I think it was 14 milligrams off the top of my head. And I was like, I'm so sick of this. I'm done. And I just stopped. And I like to clarify, I should not have done that. That was a mistake. Um, but I did. And I, I didn't have, and I stopped entirely. I didn't go like had a dose to
Yeah.
go away for a day. I was done at that point in time. I did not feel like myself for 6 to 8 months after that. It
Wow.
it literally felt the closest description I can give to it. It kind of felt like an out of body experience for like six to
Mm.
eight months. I don't. That's not right, but it's the
Yeah.
closest explanation I can give to it. And yeah, I did not feel like myself. Apparently, my wife thought I was always angry. I wasn't. I was miserable.
Right. I mean, were
And
you still having any kind of pain?
no,
No. So
the
it was
pain was
all the
gone.
withdrawals. It was all the withdrawal symptoms.
It was
Wow.
100% withdrawals. I am missing the trigeminal nerve on my left side. I feel nothing on that entire side of my face. I have no feeling whatsoever. And so, no, I couldn't have been in pain. It was
You couldn't have been.
physiologically impossible. Um,
Wow.
so, no, no pain at all. Did I have body aches? Did I have fevers,
Right.
chills, vomiting, diarrhea, you name it? Yeah, had all of that. And it was all the opiates that caused it. And or the withdrawals, I should say, not the opiates.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, it was I think about a year in total from deciding that I was done till I finally felt like a human being again.
And so that would have been when? I mean, so now we're in what?
Ballparking it, it
July
would have
of
been
26.
July. Oh, you mean from the
Yeah,
opiates?
from like so how long ago was that from
Oh,
now?
that would have been like November, December 22. So about 4 years
Okay.
ago.
And since then, any are you doing follow-up? Do you have any
Oh yeah.
like where do things stand now?
Okay, so follow up for me consists of, I mean, I was a terminal stage 4 patient. So
Right.
um, for the first 2 years, 2.5 years, I was doing PET scans, MRIs every 3 months. And
Wow.
yeah, uh, they kept a very close eye on me for a
Yeah.
little while. Now, that being said, Dr. Daniels, at the time of after surgery, I walked into his clinic cancer free effectively, as far as everyone knows.
Right.
And he looks at me and he says, if you make it 6 months without uh, any reoccurrence, I think you're fine. Now, to clarify that from a non
Mm.
clinical perspective, I did a ton of genetic testing on the tumor, and
Mm.
like every doctor that saw me wanted to do genetic testing. So I had like 5 different panels,
Right.
and every single one of them came back with one key thing, which was my cell growth rate. And the
Mm.
cell growth rate for the tumor that I had was in the 99th percentile.
Wow.
So if it was going to come back, it was
It
going to come
yeah,
back really fast.
right.
And so he said, you make it 6 months, you're probably in the clear.
Oh, I see. Okay. That
And
makes sense.
that was the premise of the conversation. And I said, okay. So at 3 months, no evidence. At 6 months, no evidence. And that's multiple PET scans. Like they did
Yeah.
a PET scan and then they repeat it an hour and a half later to see if there was any difference between the two. And
Wow.
yeah, no, I was doing like 2 PET scans in one visit and an MRI. It's not
That's some
fun.
serious follow-up.
Yeah,
Gosh.
so I did that for the first 2.5 years. And then he migrated me to every 6 months. So that's where I'm at now. And
Okay.
I officially, in what is today, the 15th. Today is, so I will go into clinical remission in about 45 days.
Wow.
So give or
That's
take.
amazing.
I'm ballparking the numbers, but I'm close
Right.
enough.
Close enough.
So
And
yeah,
clinical
that's my
remission
thought.
being 5 years.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So
Congratulations. I mean, that is amazing. I
he
mean, and
and
I
he
know it hasn't been easy. I know it has, but wow, that is,
he
you're
he
here.
scheduled his final visit with me on October 1st.
He did. Well, wow. I'm wondering if there's anything I haven't asked you that you would want to share with someone listening about any
Gosh.
stage of your journey.
So we touched on it, and it's hard to describe the answer to your question
Mm,
without having gone through anything medical. So
yeah.
I'll get it, and it's people have to interpret it in their way. So the biggest lesson that I learned in all of this, whether it had been the fighting with insurance or the dealing with doctors, is that I had to learn on the fly everything that I was going through, and it's not easy doing that. And
Yeah.
you have to be able to go to your doctors and tell them why you do or don't think that treatment X, Y, or Z is right for you, and know why, and be able to articulate to them that standard of care may or may not be the right choice for you. And I learned that at the point in time when I ended up firing the first oncologist, and it finally caught. Like I ended up being transitioned to a oncologist that dealt with clinical trials, and
Mm,
she effectively taught me a lot of this that I didn't know I could do it, and say I want to go here and get this trial. I literally, so for that, when I got the trial, I handed her the paperwork, said, "Here, I want this trial." And she said, "Okay, no problem." I was like, "What do you mean, no problem? It's at UCSD." She's like, "Yeah, that's no problem." Okay, well, what do I have to do? Like, I didn't know any of this. So
yeah.
learning how to become an advocate for yourself, and learning how to get your doctors on your side, and they're always on your side, but they don't necessarily, like, each doctor seeing what 30 patients a day, whatever the number is now. Why are they incentivized to go above and beyond for an individual if the
Mm,
individual doesn't care any more than they do? And
mm,
it took me firing my oncologist and then figuring out that, like, I show her the clinical trial and she says yes. That was the spark that was
mm,
like, oh wait, I have way more control over this than I thought I did. And yeah, the lesson is that the patient has all of the control, and
yeah.
it, it it unfortunately can take too long to learn it. And
Yeah.
learning how to be an advocate sucks. It's not fun, and it's not a fun process. And
Yeah.
but it's necessary. And it yeah, it's a lesson that I wish I could describe to somebody, but it's impossible if you haven't gone through something to
Yeah.
understand the barriers that you're running into. And
Well,
yeah,
even than what you've said in terms of being an advocate, learning that you can ask for it. I
yeah,
mean, you don't have to wait for them to offer it is a
yeah.
huge lesson. And I think that's great to describe her reaction of, yeah, like it's no problem.
That's exactly
Um,
what she said. She said,
that
okay, here you go.
that's excellent. Well, wow. I always end with a lighthearted note, so I'm going to do it. Marshmallows over a campfire, slow and steady, or flame and crispy.
Oh, at this point, because of my mouth, I'd have to go slow and steady. I can't do Christy anymore.
You can't do it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm in reconstruction right now on my mouth, so hopefully in the next year or so I'll get my mouth
You'll get to
fixed. But
flame and crispy.
yeah, yeah.
How long do they expect? Well, since you brought that up, how long do they expect? Like, do they give you a number of surgeries? Do they give you a number of years? Is it just kind of like,
Uh,
we're going to wait and see? Like, how do they even gauge that?
I'm on. It's complicated. Um, I'm on surgery 23.
Oh my.
Don't hold me to that. I can't remember. I can figure it out, but
Surgery 23, just of the reconstruction phase.
it's been complicated.
Okay. We'll
Long
say yes.
story. Long story short, yes. Long story short is that they have to redo part of it because
Okay.
something was not done correctly, and so that original surgery that I did, that fibula free flap, I unfortunately I got to do that again.
Oh
And I,
gosh.
yeah, the dome is no longer usable, so they have to take my other dome from my other leg to fix it. And it is fine. Like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm fine.
Right.
This is
Right.
reconstruction. Is it fun? No, but
No. Yeah.
I, I'm not dying. Like I can schedule it, and there
Right.
are upsides to it as well. So don't
Yeah.
misjudge. Like yes, it's,
Okay.
but it was complicated because just complications came up, issues came up, and
Yeah.
yeah, it had to happen that way. So
Yeah.
hopefully the answer to your question is 2 or 3 more surgeries. Hopefully. That's my hope.
All right. Well, then after that, maybe you will be able to have the flaming crispy marshmallow.
There, yes, I
That would
agree.
be a fitting end.
I agree.
Dane, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank you.
your vulnerability, your honesty about the whole thing, about the opioid dependency, and your charge to people to take control. You know, to
Oh
be their
yeah.
own advocate, because you're living proof that it can have a huge impact, life changing, life
Oh yeah.
saving.
Life saving. Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for
And
having me.
to those of you who are listening, until the next time we gather around the campfire, keep living beyond cancer.